Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estella.
And welcome to
Cafecito.
And Crime. Hola, everybody. Welcome back. Cisterna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I think that it's hot as balls.
It is very hot.
It is hot. Like
Very, very hot.
Like it burns. Hot.
Yeah, I'm like every year.
Every year
we talk about this.
Y cuando está frío, está frío.
No, cuando está frío, I don't complain, personally.
Well, no, I mean, a veces sí como que te duele, you know, a little bit of coldness or whatever, pero...
No, pero te puedes cobijar.
Exactamente. This is those summers. We're in the middle of the summers. I can't believe it's already July, dude. Like, for real.
Yeah.
Well, we hope everyone is doing well. Ya estamos en July.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the year's going by so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Pero like, así.
Un abrir y cerrar de ojos.
Un abrir y cerrar, así. Un abrir y cerrar de ojos.
I went like this, and it was New Year's, and I went like this, it was July 1st.
Dude, for real.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
No, I remember like New Year's Day. Well, I took the girls to go watch the Stranger Things finale at the movie theater, so that's why I remember. And I remember like it was just yesterday that we went.
I swear it's hola verga. It's going so fast, like really quickly.
Yeah.
Like I was scheduling a patient and the doctor was like 3 months from now, and then it was like October.
Yeah, September.
I was like
September, October.
October. I was like,
And it'll fly by.
Yeah, it will. Mm-hmm. But today, pues nos vamos a ir al West Virginia.
Okay.
A Fayetteville, West Virginia. Es que no tomé café. I'm going to tell them what you did to me.
No, did you drink coffee in the morning?
I drank coffee in the morning, so let me tell you what happened. So yo le hablo a la cocha esta, I'm like, hey, vente pa acá. Y se
You
pozole.
texted me.
I texted you. Es que honestly, like a veces cuando te hablo, like, you don't pay attention to me.
Yeah, because I'm working.
Well, no, because you're with your cat.
Yeah. Recently.
So then I'm like, you know what? Le voy a mandar mensaje. I was like, hey, antes de que se me olvide, I made pozole verde. Come on over.
Yeah.
Whatever. So usually I try to cook something that Estela can eat too whenever we record.
Mm-hmm.
Y entonces, give her a little treat, you know.
Yeah.
Y entonces le dije, pásale, véngase para acá, vamos a hacer pozole. Voy a hacer pozole. Ya lo tenía casi listo, whatever. So then
Pozole
she's
verde.
like, cuando llegue, le dije, me voy a ir a cortar el pelo al niño y cuando regrese, we'll record.
Oh, yeah.
Y me dijo, oh, don't worry, cuando vengas, we'll go get coffee.
Yeah.
Le dije, ok, está bueno. Llegué, no, la motherfucker, ya había comido pozole y cake 2 veces, güey.
No, yeah, I sure did. And then I was like, I don't want coffee anymore.
Yeah. Entonces, ¿qué?
No, but then, I mean, it got a little bit too late. It was going to get later for us to record. So.
Yeah, but anyway, I just want everybody to know.
Yeah.
Oye, ¿por qué estamos con la luz apagada?
Porque me entra la luz por aquí.
Ah, bueno, está bueno. But anyway, we are going to Fayetteville, West Virginia. Now, this story, I'm pretty sure you've heard of it because it's not a recent story. Whenever I heard it.
It's not or it is?
It is not.
So that's why I've heard of it?
No, because you've heard of it because it's one of those like things que you know, is a lot of information out there or people talk about it because it's a pretty big case that happened in Fayetteville, West Virginia. So let's go ahead and get started. If you'd like to come with us to Fayetteville, West Virginia, go ahead and grab your cafecitos.
And let's get started.
Awesome. So Fayetteville has a river called the New River.
Okay. Is there also a river called the Old River?
No.
Okay.
But the New River in Fayetteville is one of the oldest rivers in North America.
Oh, damn. Not just America, North America.
In North America.
Okay.
So even though it's called the New River,
it's the oldest.
It's the oldest. Mm-hmm. Now, this New River also has a bridge, right? So the bridge there is one of the world's longest single arch steel bridges in North America. And every October, this is where I thought it was crazy, because every October, thousands of visitors gather over the bridge on one day, and they close the bridge for traffic, and base jumpers. So I didn't know what a base jumper is. It's kind of like people que se avientan como de aquí amarrados and stuff.
Like bungee jumpers?
Bungee jumpers,
But you just don't bungee up?
No.
You just bungee down?
I guess.
Okay.
Base jumpers and repellers leap from the bridge. So this is one of the few legal opportunities you have
to do that
in the U.S. to base jump from a bridge. In October.
Okay, I'm still kind of confused on what it is, base jumping. So you just te avientas and that's it?
Pues yo creo, no sé. Yo pensé que tú sabías. Por eso
no,
dije
you just told
jumper.
me that you didn't know what it was and you looked it up, but then that's all you gave me. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess.
So a base jumper is a person who does extreme sports where someone jumps from a fixed object and deploys a parachute to land safely.
Oh, so you just do one. That's what I'm saying. You don't bungee up and down. You just bungee down.
Zoom.
Okay.
Y dice que base stands for building antenna, such as a radio tower, span, and earth. So span, a bridge, earth, a cliff, or natural formation. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I thought that was
pretty cool.
Pretty awesome. Now, we're going to go back to 1945.
Oh, we're going all the way back.
All the way back.
Okay.
So on December the 25th of 1945, the home of George and his wife, Jennie, was hit with the biggest tragedy and the biggest fear of a parent that could ever have.
Oh, gosh.
In a house fire, where in the family home, the Sodder couple lost half of their 10 children.
Oh, Dios mío.
In an unexplainable fire. Now, I say lost because I'm going to go into the story. I don't want to say that they were actually dead, but they weren't never found again.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, let's look back into a little bit of their backstory of the family. So George Sodder was born with the name Giorgio Soddu in Tula, Sardinia, Italia in 1895.
Okay.
When he was 13, this is funny to me because this is crazy. You would always think that people that immigrate are always so excited to get to the new place and they're like, cool, let's go.
Yeah.
So when he was 13, he immigrated to the U.S. with his older brother. So when they both cleared customs and they were here in the land of the free and the dreams y que no sé qué at Ellis Island, Giorgio's brother looked around and he said, nope, never mind. He got back on the boat.
Oh. He was like, what are all these buildings?
He's like, what is this? I'm going back home. Y se regresó el compa.
Y dejó a
Giorgio at 13.
Ahí solito.
Solito. After that, to make it easier for Americans to say, he called himself George. And then he went to Sodder instead of Soddu. Or Soddu. Which kind of, sometimes I think, why do we have to change our names to fit the U.S. standard?
I know.
It's like todas las señoras que te hacen las uñas. Why can't you just say her name? And if you can't say it, try. And if you can't, then try again.
I would try.
I always try.
Yeah.
But they're like,
My
Cindy.
name is, same.
I'm like, Tiffany. And I'm like, no, what is your name?
Yeah.
You know? But anyway. So
whatever makes him feel comfortable.
Mande? Yeah, whatever makes them happy. Yeah, that's true. So when he was here now, he started kind of looking for work. I mean, he was
13. He was a kid.
So he found work at the railroads in Pennsylvania, and he would carry waters and supplies needed by the workers at the railroad. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, George was very hardworking. It wasn't like él vino a estar sentado.
Yeah.
After a few more years, he found out a little bit more permanent work as a driver in the Smithers, West Virginia. So it's like Smith, pero E-R-S.
Smithers.
When he was working there, he thought, well, if they can do the driving, then I can do it too.
Yeah.
So this is when he started his own trucking company.
Oh, okay.
He started off by just hauling dirt to fill construction sites. Then he would haul coal mined in the region. So actually another one of the interesting random facts of West Virginia Fayetteville was that they're very big coal mining area.
Yeah.
So that was, I guess, but I was like, coal mine? He would often go to the store that was close where he would go and do his route. This is where he met the storekeeper's daughter, and her name is Jennie Cipriani.
Oh, I like that.
Me too. She too had immigrated to the U.S. from Italy as a child, and she then later married George in 1922.
Okay.
After marrying, the couple moved to nearby Fayetteville, where they felt comfortable being there because there was a large population of Italian immigrants around them. They moved to a 2-story timber frame house.
Timber. What is timber?
I guess just wooden. It was built I'm sure.
So, okay.
Yeah. And in 1923, the couple had their first of 10 children.
1933.
23.
Okay. So you're after that you got married.
Yes, sir. So George's business was doing so well, and him and his family became one of the most respected middle-class families around. Mm-hmm. In the community, George was known. Okay, so here's the deal. He was opinionated.
Okay.
So if you would see a picture, when you get to see a picture of him, he was a tall man. Así como panzón, así grandote, alto. And he would always let people know his opinions on whatever they were talking about, right?
Yes.
And he had strong opinions on some things, and a lot of the people felt uncomfortable with what he would say. Mm-hmm. So one of the subjects that George never shied away from talking about, he's like, ¿Qué pedo vamos a hablar de esto? Was the opposition to the Italian dictator Benito Mussolini.
Okay.
And his opinions did not sit well with the rest of the community. So a lot of people were probably followers of Mussolini, and he este andaba diciendo que valía madre and stuff, and then
they were like, okay, well,
that's your opinion, right?
Yeah.
Strong arguments would actually ensue from George's opinions. Like, they would go back and forth.
I mean, he had a strong personality, and I'm sure the other people did too. And I mean,
y luego también, hermana, they would
se agarraban de la greña.
Se agarraban de la greña, pero luego he was known for this. So a lot of people would kind of like stay away from him.
Okay, just because they didn't want to get into it.
Yeah, they didn't want to talk to him about it, whatever. In 1942, the last of the Sodder children was born. Her name is Sylvia. And
so they had him like one after the other, after the other,
yes.
after the other. Oh my God, pobre Jenny, la muchacha no descansó.
No, manita. No, pues así era antes. No tenían tele. And the family's second to the oldest son, Joe, who was 17 at the time, had left home already. He actually left to serve the country in World War II. Mm-hmm. Now, the very next year in 1945, Mussolini was taken from his power and he was executed. This did not change George's way, even though he was not in power anymore. He was still thinking the same and kind of talking about the criticism of the dictator. And he still openly discussed it with anyone that would bring it up.
And he was probably happy that he was no longer in power.
Now at this point, they're like, he's like, bitch, you're
out of power.
You know, whatever it is. Now, things started to get a bit spicy, sister, okay? So when in October of 1945, a life insurance salesman who was actually turned away by George, como que he was like, you know what? We don't want anything, whatever. He was apparently talked to by George in a not very nice way. Mm-hmm. The salesman turned around and told George that his house would go up in smoke and his children would be destroyed.
Oh, damn. All that?
All that. Porque le dijo que no quería insurance.
Yeah, but okay, why are you bringing my kids into this?
I don't know. So then he went on to tell George that this was going to be attributed to all the dirty remarks that he was making about Mussolini.
Todavía? Yeah.
So not long after that, another man came to the home, but he was looking for work. And he was kind of talking to George. So me lo imagino yo like walking around, just kind of talking con las manos in his pockets. I don't know why I imagine this. And he looked around the home and just in a smirking way, he said there was a pair of fuse boxes that he could see from where he was standing. And he said, those fuse boxes are going to cause a fire one day.
Okay.
So once again, George was like, no, dude, we're good. We don't want you to work here.
Yeah.
You're telling me I'm going to die. Die.
Yeah. And my kids.
Yeah. So George didn't say anything, but he was a bit confused with the observation because he had just rewired the home. I mean, at this point, we're thinking about George and Jennie like they were kind of updated porque they were one of the first ones in the area that installed an electric stove.
And es lo que te iba a decir, ya tenían tiempo en esa casita. Sí. They were just updating it as the time went. Yeah.
So, I mean, when they did put the electric stove, the electricians came out y la pusieron and they told them that everything was fine. So kind of like, bro, what are you talking about,
and
right?
They were like... Tenían like su dinerito, to be able to afford it, you know?
To be able, so that's what I'm saying. There were one of
professionally,
the... Yeah. So there were other occurrences that were also happening around the time of the fire. Mm-hmm. One of them was like the kids would see people kind of following them from the school bus to their home. Like weird things that would happen.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Now, on the day of the fire, it was Christmas Eve. And the oldest daughter, Marion, I don't know why I think that is so beautiful. Marion, as for a girl.
Like Marianne?
Or Marion. Marion.
Oh, Marion.
Marion.
Okay.
She's 19 at this time. Mm-hmm. And she had been working at the local dime store downtown Fayetteville. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing...
the local what?
Dime store. So I'm guessing como la little shop.
Una tiendita.
Una tiendita. Yo dije dime, yo dije a lo mejor la Dollar Tree. Y entonces, she was there and she surprised the three of her younger sisters, Martha, which was 12, Jenny, which was 8, and Betty, which was, I think 4, with new toys. Mm-hmm. And she bought them for Christmas. So le llegó con los little gifts y todo eso. So the girls were super excited to open her little gifts.
Yeah.
So the younger children, they were like, oh my gosh, it's Christmas Eve, you know, whatever. So they asked their mom, Jenny, if they could stay up past their bedtime so that they can play with the toys that their sister had just brought them. At 10 p.m., Jenny told them that they could stay up, but with a condition that the two older boys, Maurice, who was 14, and Louis, who was 9, would stay up with them. Now, this wasn't uncommon for them to do because the boys still did night chores. So their night chores before they went to bed were that they needed to put the cows up, like cerrar la puerta, and also they needed to feed the chickens for the last time.
Okay.
Now, everyone agreed on the conditions. Jenny was like, so see, if they're staying with y'all can stay. But say, no. And Jenny took Sylvia, which now is 3, to bed. And George and the other older 2 boys of the house, which is John, who was 22, and George Jr., who was 16, had already spent the day working. So they were already in bed.
Okay.
So it was just them and then the younger children.
Yeah.
And they were already tired. At this point, Jenny and the baby Sylvia, she's 3, are in bed, and she said that she must have dozed off when she was awoken by the telephone ring.
I'm sorry, like quick. When you were talking about that, the oldest one and the 16-year-old, like they were already in bed, but the younger ones were up. I'm like, I can imagine being a child and having 9 other siblings.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, I'm number 4 out of 6, and you know, but I imagine adding another 4 to that, I would be like.
Whenever it's us and like me and my other sister-in-law's husband and their children and our children, and then and my brother-in-law's, all of us together. Yeah, it's mad. So imagine I'm like all the time.
Sometimes when we all eat at my parents' house, that everybody's like talking and screaming, the kids handing pasando comida that we ordered, and I'm like, and I always picture
I'm missing this, so I'm gonna
I've always pictured the very beginning of Home Alone.
but the thing is, like, that's how they were. Pero I feel like Jenny was so good at keeping them also at the same time, like
keeping them as kids,
you know, trying her best to make sure, okay, you still have your chores, but you know, you can still stay up, because she could have been like, no, you're going to bed, you know. So at this point, she said she kind of felt like she dozed off a little bit, and the phone rang. So she said that when she looked around and she was startled, and she noticed it was 12:30. So dice que se levantó and she went to answer the phone. According to Jenny, the caller was a woman. Okay. And when she said hello, or who is this, she said, Jenny said que she didn't recognize the voice. And the caller asked for someone that didn't live in this home. Okay. She must have just had the wrong number, but Jenny said that it made her stomach hurt a little bit, because she said como the nervousness, because she said that the lady was laughing like in a weird way on the phone. And then she said in the background, she could hear people talking and like laughing también, and like clink, like they were in a party, like clinking. Oh, like clinking glasses or algo, yeah. And so she said that her unsettled laugh, like como que it stayed with her. She's like, I didn't like the way she was laughing. And so then she said that she told her, girl, you have the wrong number. She hangs up. She goes back to bed. While on her way back to bed, she said she noticed that the lights were all on. So she's like, oh, the kids are not in bed yet. Yeah. When she looked out, she didn't see the children anymore. But she did see that the curtains were still open. And that's something that the kids would usually do before going to bed. So she thought maybe they had already gone to bed and Marion had just didn't pay attention to the curtains. So she said when she looked over to the other side, Marion was asleep on the couch. Okay. So then she's like, oh, well, I guess the other kids they made it upstairs to the basement, because they were like in a 3-story kind of house. In the basement is donde dormían los smaller kids. The girls would sleep in the second story, and then the big bedroom where George it would be downstairs.
In the main room. In the main floor, I mean. Yeah.
So then the kids were already like, I guess, in bed, as she thought, right? So she turned off the lights, closed the curtains. She's like, okay, we're going to bed. Yeah. Now, a little long after, at 1 a.m., she again was woken up, but this time by a sound of an object hitting the house roof. Okay. So she said that it was like a metal, like a piece of metal, like it was hit like a piece of metal, like a rock hitting a piece of metal. Okay. Is what she said it hurt. And it was loud, a bang, and then it rolled.
Yeah, especially because you said their house was made out of timber, right?
Timber, yeah. So it rolled. Now, she says she didn't hear anything after that. So she's like, oh, I don't know.
Una piedra o algo se cayó.
I would have thought como una nut or something, you know, from a squirrel, whatever. Then after that, 30 minutes later, she says she was again woken, but this time to the smell of smoke. Okay? She said she got up and ran out the room where she was able to notice that the office where the telephone line and there was a fuse box in there, and they were both on fire.
Okay.
Now Jennie starts jumping up and down and screaming, and she screams up to George to wake up, there's fire. And then George got the other older boys, and they ran downstairs. Now both the parents and the four of their children, Marion, Sylvia, John, and George Jr., ran out the house. They yelled repeatedly to the other children, and because they were upstairs, nobody answered them. No response.
What do you mean, help. Who was upstairs?
The other four.
I thought they were downstairs in the basement.
No, upstairs. Meaning, like they all were sleeping in the upstairs. So it was the main floor.
Okay, I see. On the second floor.
Second floor, and then they had a third floor, and that's where the kids would sleep.
I thought you said they were in the basement.
I meant attic.
Oh,
what is it? Arriba.
Attic.
Okay. So they were in the attic. I'm sorry. So in the attic, it was wherever the other smaller children would sleep. Y luego in the second, where the girls would sleep and Marion would sleep. And then in the bottom floor is where George and everybody else was at.
Okay.
So at this point, they're yelling repeatedly to the kids to come down. And they're like, there's no response.
Yeah.
They're like, we can't hear anybody screaming for help. We can't hear anything. George tried to go up the stairs, but the fire had already taken over the stairwell. The couple tried to call the fire station, but the phone didn't work. So then Marion ran to the neighbor's house to call the fire department. And when she was there, she was unable to reach an operator.
What?
Yes. Now, another driver that was driving by reportedly said that they stopped when they saw the house burning.
Yeah, right.
And they went to a tavern to also call and see if they could get the fire department. No operator.
When was the fire department even incorporated? You know what I mean?
No, there was a fire department, bitch. They just did not answer. There was no operating. No operator.
You said it was 1945?
1945 or 5. So anyway, now at this point, the guy from the tavern, he couldn't get through to the operator tampoco.
When was it? I know I said where was the fire department incorporated, but it was actually established way before in 1838. Yeah, cool. Okay.
So now George is barefoot, right? And he's trying to climb on the side of the house.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to get into the attic.
Yeah.
So he broke open a window. He cut his arm, right? And now him and his sons are trying to climb a ladder. Now this ladder is always there, because that's the way that they're able to get in and out of the attic. Now the problem is the ladder was gone. The ladder disappeared. Right? So now the ladder's not at its usual spot. So he's like trying to find what to throw at the fire, and he sees a barrel of water. Bro, the barrel of water is frozen.
Look, for this deep dive, we're just impartially examining the evidence. But to understand this 2018 case, you have to start at the raid.
Right, January 23rd.
Yeah. Law enforcement, before dawn, weapons drawn.
Wait, on his wife?
On his wife, on their wedding anniversary. And his father's birthday.
Wow.
His career, over 200 credits just wiped out, all over an alleged extortion involving, Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. But look at the source documents.
A lead investigator testified under oath.
0 extortion in the email.
0.
Just 0.
3.5 years, 3 active legal proceedings right now.
The okie doke.
De todos modos, what was that little barrel compared to the fire?
Dude,
I know it's something.
At that point, he's like thinking about anything. So then he's like, I'm going to pull both my trucks to try to climb to the attic to get the kids, right? The 2 trucks that he used earlier in the day to work. Yeah. His business trucks. He climbs in, tries to turn them on. They don't turn on, bitch.
What?
They don't turn on. So now he's like standing there.
Yeah, like...
His family is 6 now, just watching this freaking house burn down to nothing. And he has no choice but to watch the house burn and collapse. It collapsed in 45 minutes.
And nobody had been able to reach the fire department or like a fire truck?
No. When someone was finally able to speak to the fire department, they actually spoke to the chief, which is F.J. Morris. Now, F.J. Morris, he is a big part of this case, so you'll listen to me talk about him
a lot.
And he said that he was aware of the fire. Okay, they didn't need to be calling.
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, where are you guys? You know?
Exactly. But
Chop,
he
chop.
didn't give an update. He didn't say anything. Even though they did not show up until later that morning.
In the morning?
In the morning.
In the daylight?
In the daylight. Morris said that they were low on men. And that's why they couldn't go, because everybody was at war. Right? Okay, that's fine. Then he said that it was snowing. Y que no podían drive the trucks. And then he had to wait for someone to come and help him drive the truck over to the Sodder home. But there was people driving on the street.
Mm-hmm.
So
if they could drive, you're telling me that the fire truck can't drive?
So that's what they say, allegedly.
That's their story.
So at this point, the fire, all they did was, now that they showed up, they literally showed up like at 9 o'clock in the morning, 10, Estela. This started like at 1.
En la madrugada.
En la madrugada.
Oh my God.
So all they did was go through the ashes to see what was left.
Oh.
And by 10 a.m., Morris told the family that the 5 children that were not accounted for Maurice, age 14, Martha Lee, age 12, Louis, age 10, Jennie Irene, age 8, and Betty Dolly, age 5.
Betty Dolly?
Yeah,
Oh.
had died in the fire. Now, Morris told George to leave the area alone, don't touch it, and this way that the state fire marshal could come and do a more detailed, report. So George and the family were, Estela, if you can imagine,
Distraught.
Beyond distraught.
Themselves, yeah.
But people started coming over and looking at the area. So venían y pasaban.
Just like regular civilians?
Yeah, civilians, and would go over there and see, like the burning and stuff.
That would have been me.
So, yeah, bitch, that would have been you. But George was kind of like,
Get away
it's
from
a crime my family.
Yeah.
This is my kids. We're trying to find our children.
Yeah.
So he decided that, in getting tired of it, kind of turning into a spectacle, they both decided it would be too hurtful for people to just entertain themselves.
Yeah.
And so then dijo, you know what? We're done with this. So after 4 days, he decided to bulldoze 5 feet of dirt over the hole where the house used to be. Now, this comes back kind of to bite them a little bit, because then the fire marshal's like, oh, well, you covered it, so now we can't have an investigation.
Right, right.
But whatever. Now, Morris said that it was a good idea, though. Morris was like, yeah, go ahead and cover it. Because this way it would conserve the evidence that they had missed. Now, first of all, why do you need to conserve evidence? Second of all, why would you miss it?
Yeah, why is it taking so long?
Exactly. Days passed, and the local coroner called an inquest. Now, this was new for me, too, because I didn't know that this was a thing. So the coroner and I guess like a few people from which they would say like around 6 local citizens, they would call an inquest. So this was common in the 40s. So they would use a coroner and they would listen to the citizens' testimonies and the firefighters and the doctor, whatever, police and other people that were close to the case. And then they would conduct the investigation, I guess themselves, to make sure, since they didn't have a body and they were like trying to figure out what happened and why the fire happened. And it so happens that that they concluded that the fire was caused by a faulty wiring, an accident. But they're like, it was impossible for the family to be okay with that because it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
Something to point out was that one of the men that were in the jury that they used
in the inquest,
was the man that threatened George before, when he was giving his opinions on Mussolini in that jury, and he was in there.
So it wasn't the insurance salesman.
The insurance salesman.
The one que lo maldijo a él y a sus hijos.
A sus hijos. He was one of those people. Why would?
Yeah, 40s.
Right. On December 30th, death certificates were issued for the 5 children.
Oh.
And the news said that the bodies were recovered, but then the same news said, never mind, there was only one part of a body that was discovered.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that makes a big difference, right?
Yeah.
On January the 2nd, they did have a funeral for nothing, because there was nothing to have a funeral for.
Right.
But the children...
Like a memorial service.
Yeah, memorial service. But Jennie and George were not able to attend.
I'm
they
sure.
They were like, we're not going to go. Their children went, but they were too overwhelmed.
I know they have a lot of children, but just imagine losing half of your kids.
No, and not only that, but somewhere I read or I heard que whenever, you know how I told you that he had cut his, George had cut his hand?
To go up and try to get them?
They had to like give him a sedative. I don't know what they would do back in the 40s, probably just give you cocaine or something. But because they couldn't calm him down. Like he was in such a state of shock that they could not calm him down.
I don't think it was cocaine then.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was just too overwhelming for them, and they were like, we're not going. So the Sodder family did try to put their lives together, but while doing so, they did have some questions that they wanted to bring up, right? Because as we know, George was very opinionated, and he stated what he felt. So I'm going to go over a little bit of the theories and things that would come up during the time that they were, investigating. So Jennie and George wondered if the phones were off because the electricity was off, but they couldn't make that like connection because whenever the house was burning down, the Christmas lights were on.
Oh, what?
So you know how I said que the phones weren't working?
Right.
So they were like, oh, well, maybe the light was off.
No, but the phone was cut.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, there was no way for that to happen.
Right.
Another thing was that the ladder that I mentioned that was
always there.
Yeah. It was against the wall, right? At the house. It was thrown about 75 feet away from the bottom of an embankment. Yeah. So estaba tirada nada más. Like they were moving it out the way.
Yeah.
But
how would that happen, right?
So the telephone repairman told the family that the telephone line had been cut, like you said. This is what they originally thought that was just burned. But the telephone guy also told them that whoever did cut it, they had to have climbed at least 14 feet to cut it.
14 feet?
14 feet, yeah.
But they had to climb the pole, no?
Pues sí, the pole. But still, dude, like...
I know, pero digo, damn.
I'm not going to climb no fucking 14 feet to go cut somebody's fucking
power
or no telephone. Now, around this time, the neighbors did see a man that was roaming around the house, right? So they did bring it up to the police, and the man was at the Sodder property. He was there, according to what they saw, stealing a block and tackle. So I didn't know what this was, so I looked it up. Basically, it's a block is whatever you put on the truck para estirar, like to pull the truck.
Oh, got it. I see.
Yeah. So the man was identified and arrested.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah, because they were like, what were you doing? Did you cause this fire? And he said that he did go to steal.
Oh,
he
pero
did.
no a matar.
Pero he did not cut, and he did cut the line too, del phone. Pero he said that he thought it was the power line. And he didn't want them to call the police on him. So that's why he cut it.
So he thought he was cutting the power line, but he didn't cut the power line?
No, he cut the phone line. Exactly. But he had nothing to do with the fire.
So I don't know how this works, but are the phone line and the power lines not the same thing?
Not the same thing.
They're not?
The same
okay.
thing. No. So Jennie did not agree with Morris and his theory about the children's remains. Now, she kept saying that there was no way that they could have burned to ashes to a point where they couldn't find anything, right? When she remembered that there were pieces of tin roof still. So if you're telling me that there's tin roof...
And they were in the roof.
And they were in the attic.
Not the roof, I'm sorry. So they were in the attic. How is it that they're not?
Exactly. And some appliances that were still recognizable. So
yeah.
If that's the case, then why not bones?
Yeah.
Now, she would compare her story to a news story that came out nearby, like town, que había una family of 7 that they had also died in a fire, and all of their remains were found. And it was a very similar situation. So she's like, bro, how is this possible? Mm-hmm. So in her own grief, she had to find out, and because she had to find out what happened to her children.
Right.
So she would burn small animal bones long enough, and she would be like, okay, let's see how the same amount of it if they would burn.
Yeah, like disintegrate.
Disintegrate.
Yeah.
Because this is what they were telling the family, is that they disintegrated, they're not there.
To dust, probably.
There's nothing there. Right?
That's what they were telling them. Pues.
So, but the bones never turned into ash. Like, there's no way.
So there's no way that the investigators wouldn't have found, and not just even for one, like... Five kids.
5 kids.
Right.
If they were all in the attic, in the same area.
Yes.
5, right? I think that a coroner actually spoke to Jenny and told her that it takes 2 hours and
At a
2,000
degrees Fahrenheit
for it to burn to like ash.
like when somebody gets like cremated or something like
so
that.
So it takes 2 hours and 2,000 degrees ash to turn into ash. You imagine if it was 45 minutes, no.
Yeah.
But anyway, with this, the years pass and the neighbor said that, this is what is frustrating about the story to me, Estela, is that people would just like remember random ass shit and then tell the family, and then the family would believe it, and they would think that this was like something that they needed to follow up on. And that's what I think hurt me the most about it. It was kind of more heartbreaking. So some people said that they saw somebody throwing balls of fire at the house the night of the fire, right? So after the snow melted, they did find some green plastic like objects in the side of the house, and the family said it looked like pineapple grenades. So remember back in the day, like que les tirabas, the grenade.
Yeah.
So they say that that's what they thought they were throwing, and that maybe that's what had caused the fire. But there was no way that
I don't think
that could have caused a fire. Not only that, because you know how I told you that Jenny had heard que algo pegó, like something hit
on the roof.
So then she thought maybe that the
it could have been that,
but it was not. It was impossible for them to say, okay, that's where the fire originated
from.
Other theories that were out there was that a woman was watching the fire from the road and that she was able to see that the children were taken in a car. She said that she actually saw the car leave with the children inside with Florida license plates, and that another lady said that the next day, like in a rest stop, she fed some children that looked like her, like those, and that they were speaking Italian.
Okay.
So, I mean, all of these things were just theories coming up, whatever. And
as a parent, like, how do you not follow up on
no, and
you
guess
have
what?
to.
I'm going to tell you something. George followed up on every single one. He did not care who said it, what it was. He did it. So George did hire a PI, and his name was C.C. Tinsley. And he was new. He was from a nearby town, and he told the family that even though Morris did tell the family that, remember I told you that he had said that he found some remains. So apparently he had found a heart, according to him. Right?
A heart?
Okay, listen to this. So then he said that after he found the heart, he packed it into a metal box and he buried it. Right? So apparently Morris confessed to a local minister. Mind you, I thought ministers weren't supposed to say, but whatever. And the minister told George and the PI.
I think it's a priest, ¿no? Que no puede decir.
Well, I don't know. Maybe. Somebody, one of them. And they both, after the minister les dijo, they both went to confront Morris. And he said that he would show them the box and where they found it. And it so happens that it was an animal liver. So you know why he did this?
Why?
Because he wanted to hide it in hopes that the family would find it and then just drop the whole fact that the kids were not dead. Like he just wanted for them to leave him alone.
So... And this is a PI?
No, this is Morris, the chief of the fire department.
So you think that they weren't going to be able to be like, oh, this is not a heart?
No, not only that,
it's a liver, an animal liver.
Animal liver, and not only that, but George took it to a coroner for them to test it.
Right?
Yeah.
Sir, Fire Marshal
Morris.
Chief Morris, this is your job.
Yeah.
Literally, this
not
is literally.
He wasn't doing a very good job, as we can tell. Now, on another occasion, George saw a magazine cover of a ballet dancers in New York, and él se volvió loco. He was sure that one of those dancers was Betty, and he was like, "That's Betty. That's Betty.
Betty Dolly.
Betty Dolly." Aww. And so he's like, he drove to the school where the ballet dancers were on in the magazine, and he demanded to speak to the girl herself and
himself,
and of course. The school was like, dude, sorry, you're crazy. We cannot let you in. So he was very upset. So he called the FBI and he's like, you need to come and help me because they're not letting me check on this lead. Yeah. And so
I thought you were going to say that he waited outside for her outside of the school. No.
So after that, the FBI wrote him a nice letter telling him
to fuck off.
Yes, to fuck off. That it was a local matter and they did not want to overstep their boundaries. This had to do with the Fayette Police Department, not them.
Okay.
And if they didn't ask for help, they couldn't help them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, in 1949, a pathologist did supervise a new search of the area.
Okay.
Now, we go back to the same thing, como habían puesto that dirt. So, on the grounds of the home, and they did find some fragments this time in the grounds. When they looked into it, they found out that, yes, it was a human vertebrae. So they're like, okay. So when they went back, they took the vertebrae back to them and they investigated whatever. The age of the bone did not match the oldest son's age, which was 14, because the person that it belonged this vertebrae to was 22. So they're like, there's no way that it's them. It's them. It is a human bone, but it's not
the children's.
So it turns out that the dirt that George had brought over was from a cemetery.
Oh, okay.
So that's probably where
it came
the
from.
Fragment of the unknown male vertebrae
came
was from.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that they did not find anything
regarding.
One of many times that he literally was running around like crazy. He did not live his life normally. George, he did not give up. He searched for his children. He would follow any lead that he could think, like I said before, any information, anything. He didn't care how crazy it was or how far it was. He's like, I'm going. Now, in 1967, George came to Houston.
Oh, shit.
The family got a letter. Because they got a series of letters too.
Yeah, I'm sure over time, people were crazy.
So the letter is saying that the same person by the name of Lewis had told her that Maurice and Lewis were living in Texas, that they were there and alive. So George was like, we're going to Houston.
Yeah.
They went to the H. And when they followed up to the lead, they were not able to find anything, unfortunately. And the lady was not real. And they did not have any proof that
what they were told was
true. Not only that, but George, they had to prove to George that, like, who were these people, like, with papeles and shit, because he's like, I need to make sure that you guys are not lying to me.
Right.
So, yeah, that was nothing.
Why do people do that? I know we say it every time, but...
That's nothing. Let me get to another one. Another letter that had a picture in it. Now, this one was crazy because it was a picture of Lewis, and it said on the outside the name of Lewis, and it said, still alive. Right?
Okay.
Now, in the back, no decía nada, nothing. It didn't have a return address, nothing. It was from Central City, Kentucky, with no return address. The picture resembled Lewis so much that if he would have been alive, he would have looked just like this. But he would have been 30.
Okay.
Right? So the family found another PI, and they researched, and nothing.
Where did this come from then?
They have no idea. But the family believed that this was so true, so much so that they added it to their missing persons ad as now, like, to say, hey, this is what I look like.
Like an age progression.
And then this broke my heart. They put it on top of their mantle of their fireplace.
Oh.
That broke my heart. I was like...
Because they're like, this is him.
This is him. Yeah. Now, there's never been...
Any confirmation,
nothing.
But that's what they believe.
Yes. Now, George at one point talked to the Charleston Gazette Mail saying, I guess their newspaper. And he said that he felt like he was always hitting a wall. And he said he couldn't go any further, and that they were just wanting to know if they did die in the fire, then they want to be convinced that they did die.
Right.
But if they didn't, then what happened to their children?
Of course.
Right? Mm-hmm. George did die in 1969.
Oh.
And even after his death, Jennie and her surviving children, except John, because John was the only one that after the fire, he stopped talking about it. He's like, I'm not talking about it anymore. And he said that the family should move on.
Maybe it's just that was his way of dealing with it.
Now, something very interesting about John, I don't know if it's interesting or it doesn't matter, but when he originally was outside, he told the police that he had run up to the attic to tell the kids to get out. Mm-hmm. So mentioning that he had seen them. He later changed the story and saying, no, I just screamed from the downstairs. I never actually saw them.
Yeah, because if you went to tell them to get out, how did you know that they were there anyway?
That they were there anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, I don't know if that makes a difference, but yeah. So he's the only one
I don't think so.
John said, you need to move on and we need to stop thinking about this or whatever. And I mean, so he was the only one that didn't continue, right? Mm-hmm. So Jennie stayed in the family home for years. She kept looking. So what they did was they turned that piece of land or, dirt I had mentioned before into a garden. Oh. And that's how she remembered her children, as in that garden. She wore black for the rest of her life. She did not do anything but mourn her children.
And it's like he was saying, if they did die, okay, but convince me that they did die. And I feel like even if that were to happen, they'd be like, okay, I could have moved on with my life after that.
Absolutely.
Pero it's all so strange.
Not only that, but she did eventually die in 1989. And
she lived a long life.
She lived a long time. The family finally took down a worn down "Have you seen me?" billboard. So when you look it up, you'll see they had a billboard put in front of their house with the children's pictures and then the updated pictures of who they thought was Lewis and this. And they were like, finally, when their mom passed away, they took it down. Now, Sylvia Sodder Paxton, the youngest surviving child of the family, actually died in 2021.
Oh, shit.
She said her father would stay up late talking about what he thought might have happened to the children or whatever. She said that she would never stop experiencing their grief. Like, they never stopped grieving, Even in her obituary, Stella. In the obituary de la señora, it stated de Sylvia.
Okay.
It stated that the 5 other siblings weren't able to be located following a fire that occurred in December of 1945.
Dude, even in that was on Christmas.
Their family home in Fayetteville. So it mentions them by name: Maurice, Martha, Lewis, Jenny, and Betty. But it never says on there passed away, nothing. It just says never found.
Yeah, I mean, I also would be like
I mentioned in the beginning of the story, never found. You cannot say that they're dead.
That they were killed in the fire.
Now, the case in general, like in a whole, was closed since 1950. And the governor, I guess that was his name, Okey. Okay. Patterson and the police of Fayetteville said that the case was hopeless.
You know what? Now in the year of 2026, I would want this case to be reopened, honestly. With all the advancements in technology and all that. I mean, there's...
So, and they...
Has to be something.
And they closed the case. They didn't want to... They were like, it's hopeless, and they just closed it without looking back.
Yeah, but that was in 1950.
In 1950. And they lived on to still, in 2021...
Put it out there,
yeah. Because they still, until 1989, took down the Have You Seen Me poster.
Yeah. And that wasn't, I mean, compared to when it actually happened in 1945 to 1989, like you were saying, the parents, both of them, to their dying breath, they were, and even the siblings,
Everybody. The sad part was that I feel like this consumed them to where they did not have a life. Because that's all they did. That's all they talked about. They wouldn't leave the house. They were like, they literally built another house next door to the house where they were supposed to be at, and then the mom would be out there 24/7.
But in a way, it's like, and I know you have 5 other children to live for. Like, I understand that. But how do you move on?
How do you move on?
As a pet, like, I don't have kids. I barely just have a cat. But like, how do you move on from losing 5 of your kids?
You can't move on from losing half. Imagine like
half of your children.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
And the youngest ones at that, right?
The youngest ones. Yeah. Now, a lot of the theories, moving on from what there were, like the stories or whatever, was that they believed that they were sent by, the Italian mafia to hurt the family. Because of what George would say about Mussolini. Yeah.
But I mean, he was just like a regular person, just talking about Mussolini. I mean,
not only
he wasn't the only one.
I'm sure. But not only that, but I mean, maybe because tenía dinerito.
Pero ¿qué les va a hacer él que hable mal de Mussolini? He's all the way fucking in Italy. He's
and not
over
only
here
that,
in fucking West Virginia, of all places, fucking West Virginia. I mean, nothing against West Virginia. I'm sure it's a lovely state. I've just never been.
Me neither.
Pero like,
No, and not only that, but George had been here since he was 13.
Yeah.
He was an American.
Yes.
And he made his life here in America. So what did that have to do? Why kill?
I doubt Mussolini even knew who the fuck George was.
I don't think Mussolini gave a fuck.
I think Mussolini was too busy handling his business.
He died. I'm pretty sure he was worried about that.
He was doing other shit.
Yeah. So until this day in 2026, this case remains one of the most famous cold cases of the United States. Never found anything in a fire. They never confirmed that they were there. They never.
No remains.
Nothing. There no way for them to find out if the children were in there. Like you said, not 1, 2, no, 5.
5 kids.
5 kids. You know, I would like to definitely reopen the case because I'm like, dude, come on, let's go see. I mean, now with all the advances, como dices tú, I would sift through the fucking dirt. Like, I don't care,
Till
you know?
this day, I mean, like, give me a fucking un tenedor y una pinche,
or,
give me una escoba y
or
un
like
recogedor.
even get the DNA and like run it through CODIS or run it through
or
like,
not even that. There has to be some like ground.
what is it called? The 21 and plus or como se llama?
Girl, I don't know what you're talking
21
about.
and me or como se llama la madre esa del DNA?
No, esa no. Nah, bitch, esa.
No, I'm just saying to run
like
it
genealogy.
for genealogy. If somebody eventually did something like now, they're like, oh,
They have kids or whatever.
Yeah, what if they were
There
alive?
has to be like ground penetrating radars or some shit.
Something, bro.
Who studies dirt?
Somebody.
You
know, pero I mean, pero that's if if they were even in the house, sister.
But that's a different story.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying, like,
But
if they were alive.
that would be for the parents. If you were to tell them if when they were alive, they would be like, the kids were not in the house, they didn't burn in the house, we just don't know where they're at. And they would be like, okay, they're not in the house. I feel like they would have been able to at least leave that area and move away from that house. And then,
yeah, pero como quiera, even at that, like,
wait, do you think the salesman was involved?
Absolutely. I think the salesman had something to do with it because, first of all, why were you so involved?
Why were you so talking shit about his children?
His children. Not only that, but okay, he doesn't want your life insurance, bitch. Get the fuck out. You know, like whatever. But I don't know. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
I honestly think that I don't know what to think.
Yeah, I don't know what to think either.
I feel like it could have been either or.
Yeah.
Like maybe they did die in the fire, but they just couldn't figure out the fragments. Then if they didn't, where'd they go?
I don't think they died in the fire, personally.
Do you think that? But I also don't think that they ran away. Like, why would they run away? They were playing. But what if when they went outside to go let the cows out, se lo robaron? Like, I don't know.
I don't know what happened. I just know they weren't in the fire. They weren't in the house.
They weren't.
That's what I believe.
I believe that too myself. So anyways, let us know what you think. If you would like to follow us on Instagram, you can at
Cafecito and Crime Pod. And if you would like to download our episodes, leave us a review and or rate us. We would really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you in the next one. Bye.